has China's quiet influence, economic leverage, and military calculations in the Ukraine conflict. Part 2. Now that we've established China's broad strategic positioning in Part 1, let's take a deeper dive into its economic leverage, military considerations, and long-term geopolitical calculations regarding the Ukraine conflict. While China presents itself as a neutral actor, its actions suggest a carefully calculated balancing act between supporting Russia, maintaining economic stability, and avoiding direct confrontation with the West. Economic lifeline: China's financial and trade support for Russia. Sanctions from the West have isolated Russia from much of the global economy, cutting it off from key financial systems like SWIFT and reducing its trade partnerships with Europe. China has stepped in to fill some of these gaps. A. Energy purchases, keeping Russia afloat. Oil and gas deals. Russia has turned to China as a major buyer of its energy exports after being largely cut off from Western markets. China has increased its purchases of Russian oil and natural gas, providing crucial revenue to Moscow. Discounted rates. Due to sanctions, Russia has had to sell its energy at discounted prices, allowing China to stockpile energy resources at a lower cost while indirectly funding Russia's war effort. The power of Siberia pipeline expansion. China and Russia have strengthened their energy ties by expanding the Power of Siberia pipeline, ensuring long-term energy cooperation. B. Trade and the yuan's growing role. De-dollarization strategy. With Russia struggling to access the US dollar and euro due to sanctions, China has promoted the use of the yuan in bilateral trade. This shift strengthens China's long-term goal of challenging the dominance of the US dollar in global trade. Banking and payment systems. China's UnionPay system has helped Russian businesses and individuals bypass Visa and MasterCard bans, maintaining financial connectivity. C. Dual-use goods and technological assistance. Microchips and electronics. While China avoids direct military aid, it supplies critical components like semiconductors, drones, and industrial technology that could be repurposed for military use. Trade workarounds. Chinese companies have increased exports of non-lethal military equipment, such as body armor and navigation systems, that benefit Russia's military logistics. 2. China's military calculations. Strategic restraint with subtle support. China has walked a fine line, offering strategic support to Russia without triggering Western retaliation. It does this through technological cooperation, military exercises, and intelligence sharing, while avoiding outright weapon sales. A. No direct arms sales yet, but growing military ties. China has refrained from directly supplying Russia with weapons, wary of secondary sanctions and damaging economic ties with the West. However, China and Russia have conducted joint military exercises, reinforcing military cooperation and testing hypothetical wartime scenarios. B. Cyber warfare and intelligence sharing. China's cyber capabilities are among the most advanced in the world, and there's speculation that China and Russia share cyber intelligence to counter Western influence. Disinformation campaigns. China's state media often amplifies Russian narratives about the war in Ukraine, challenging the Western portrayal of the conflict and shaping opinions in the global South. Lessons from Ukraine. Implications for Taiwan. China is carefully studying Russia's mistakes in Ukraine to prepare for a potential Taiwan conflict. Military logistics. Observing supply chain failures and adapting strategies to ensure a stronger logistics backbone. Western sanctions. Testing how economic isolation impacts military operations and adjusting financial contingency plans. NATO and US response. Evaluating the effectiveness of Western military aid and refining its approach to countering a similar response if China invades Taiwan. The long game. China's geopolitical and economic strategy. China is playing the long game, using the Ukraine conflict to reshape global power dynamics. A. Weakening US global influence. China benefits from the US being deeply engaged in Ukraine as it distracts American resources and attention away from Asia. By ensuring Russia remains stable, China prevents the West from fully encircling it with hostile alliances. B. Expanding BRICS and non-Western alliances. The Ukraine conflict has accelerated China's push for alternative global institutions, particularly within BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. China is using economic influence in the global south to rally nations against Western-led financial systems, promoting its own Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, as an alternative. See preparing for a future confrontation with the West. China sees the Ukraine war as a test run for a future global order where it challenges U.S. dominance. By maintaining its neutral diplomatic position while quietly backing Russia, China is positioning itself as a leader in the emerging multipolar world order. Conclusion: China's subtle but decisive role. While China may not be sending troops or weapons to Ukraine, its economic, political, and military maneuvers have profound effects on the war's trajectory. Through financial support, energy deals, cyber intelligence, and diplomatic positioning, China ensures that Russia can sustain its war effort without directly confronting the West. By maintaining strategic ambiguity, China has placed itself in a unique position, reaping the benefits of Russia's dependence while preparing for its own future conflicts, particularly regarding Taiwan. The Ukraine war is not just about Europe, it's a global shift in power, and China is ensuring it emerges stronger in the long run. Would you like to explore China's diplomatic positioning on peace talks, or how its role affects Taiwan, India, and other global players? For the next part.